same classification, same mindset, because of the fact he kills his family members, his uncle's brother, allows dead corpses to be beaten, women to be beaten, warm beer, allowed all that stuff to happen, and untold atrocities in the gulags, folks, look that up, gulags throughout North Korea, where there's just hundreds of thousands of people literally locked up, and the most inhumane treatment that you could ever imagine. Nightmares that is taking place every single day that just breaks your heart. And for us to know these things, we've known these. The Pentagon knows it. The president knows this. But what's menacing is weapons of mass destruction. We've talked about EMPs, his threats of being able to be doing that. Not think for a moment that if he felt like he had the ability to do it, with Iran's blessings, etc., that or China's blessing, that they wouldn't do it. Maybe China would be a little bit crazy to decide with that, but Iran certainly, they would love to see the destruction of America. Love it. They chant this 24 hours a day. Death to America. They have their kids say it. And the propaganda pieces in North Korea, very similar. And showing the videos and the propaganda. These are the types of people that you want around? I don't know, folks. I don't know. I just don't buy it in. I sense that there's going to be some type of action done. You talk about being on the right side of history. I mean, I don't know. There's the pros and cons to everything. I don't trust him. I have a bad feeling about this guy, and I believe that we have to be reactionary, and I just believe still that all options are still on the table with that, and sooner or later we're going to get some kind of report that there's some kind of showdown happening, and I don't know if it's going to be cyber, I don't know if it's electromagnetic, something happening here, because, again, you allow these nefarious players to be able to pretty much Iran has supplied them with technology and a lot of money. Russia's done the very, very same thing. They're not our friends by any means. They're not our friends. There's so many haters of America. We're going to have to step up to the plate. And I think show the world that anybody, I think, you have to have a tall stick. And Obama did not walk around with one of those. As a matter of fact, he emboldened our enemies. And I think we're going to have to strike to show them that anybody in anywhere on the planet decides to do that, they're going to be met with fire and fury, as Donald Trump has said. This guy is dangerous. And I think he's planning something. And we know that the guy is constantly on the move to try to acquire weapons of mass destruction. He gets better, he gets further, launches capability, they get better, and we're allowing it to happen, and these things keep on launching. There will be another launch. I don't know if it's going to be today or tomorrow or next week, but mark my words, this guy will launch something else, and it will be much more of a spectacle. And we're going to sit there and just watch the thing fly over Japan or fly over Guam this time, fly over Alaska. What happens when trajectory changes by accident, their guidance system screws up and it blows into something? You tell me. That's what I don't trust about it. We have a little bit more experience, and so does so many other countries like Saudi Arabia, so many other countries, China even. These people are pretty much infancy, but this is all these people do. 24/7, you think about the people who eventually crack codes. Like, how did that guy figure my code out? If that's all you sit there and do 24/7, eventually you're going to find the method to do it. Trial and error until it happens. And then we're going to be in a really vicarious situation, don't you think? Again, make sure you're taping this or you know what podcast this is for October 6th. I told you so. I don't trust him. And it's just kind of funny when I hear, for those especially of North Korean descent working for the CIA, Guy wants to stay in power. Of course he wants to stay in power. Who wouldn't want to be in that position? The guy's in a different house. He's like Saddam Hussein in this regard. He doesn't stay in the same house every single night. He's in some different house. That's how paranoid he is. Why would he have to be so paranoid? Think about that for a second. Paranoid people, there's a reason why you're paranoid. Because, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I'm treating my people not as good as I treat myself and the people I choose to treat. The little schoolgirls that I have come up in my bed. And yeah, those. The guy's a sicko. But people praise him. Give him, I think, way too much credit. I think he's a young idiot that got the leadership passed on. I think people give him way too much credit. And people that work around him know that they're going to lose their lives if they say anything counterproductive. If they're not on the same exact page as him, they get killed. So he's got all yes men working around him 24/7. Even if they know that he's wrong, he's crazy, they're not going to listen to him. This guy's going to just do what he wants to do. Temper tantrum, hey, take him out. We're going to kill him. That's exactly what this guy will do. So President Trump, from what Todd Beeman has said today, will remain a Second Amendment advocate despite the Las Vegas massacre because, according to him, he's got too many people in the base. A former Reagan aide, Jeffrey Lord, was telling Newsmax yesterday, I don't think that he'll stray far from the anti-gun control side of the argument here. Lord told Bill Tucker and Michael Starr Hopkins that in an interview, he's got too many people in his base. So it's just the reverse of Hillary Clinton in the Planned Parenthood thing. Interesting. She's not going to budge an inch on that, and I don't think the president is going to budge very far on this. What do you think about that? Lord said he was looking forward to further comment from the National Rifle Association, which said yesterday bump stock devices fitted to 12 of the 23 guns found in Stephen Paddock's hotel room after he killed himself should face additional regulation. Maybe there's an area there, but we'll see. Well, folks, I've looked into this, as you know, a good talk show host should, and I've done it. So here we go. Bloomberg says the nation's largest gun lobbying group said devices that allow semi-automatic rifles to function like automatic firearms should be subject to new regulation after a growing number of Republican lawmakers say they're open to such restrictions. And yes, this is following the Vegas massacre. The NRA believes that devices designed to allow semi-automatic rifles to function like fully automatic rifles should be subject to additional regulations, the group said in a statement officially yesterday. The NRA. But they also criticize politicians seeking to ban guns, saying doing so won't prevent a crime act of a madman. When you have a madman on the loose, it doesn't matter what regulations you have, they're still going to be able to, with money. And this guy had the means. He had plenty of means, millions of dollars to acquire. And for the right money, folks, come on. Criminals, that's why they call them criminals. They can always find it. And if it wasn't for this, I listened to Geraldo today, and he said, look, if it wasn't for the guns, it would be a bomb. And if it wasn't a bomb, it would be a vehicle. And if it wasn't a car or a truck, it would be a small plane. I mean, for somebody that wants to do the unthinkable to people and to do these particular things, they will always find a way. And this guy was pretty slick under the radar, planning this thing out to a T, scouting it out, making sure that where he exactly was would have maximum effect, massive casualties. He wanted to rack up the body count. I mean, you got over 500 injured. Can you imagine if they all died? I mean, that would be hard. That's what he was hoping for. I'm sure that he was hoping more would die, but 58, more people will die because of injuries. And unfortunately, that death toll will go up from what I understand. There's too many people in critical condition still. But still, he gets the title, at least right now, with numbers, the most, biggest massacre in U.S. history. So he gets that title. He gets that epitaph. I don't know if they're going to write that on his grave, but history will remember as that right now. Orlando, Mateen, he was the guy, but now he's been left in the dust by this idiot. House Speaker Paul Ryan is telling MSNBC that changing the law is something we need to talk about, look into. He says, I didn't even know what they were until this week. And he says, I'm an avid sportsman, Ryan said. He didn't know what it was. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said that the White House wants to engage with Congress on the debate over bump stocks. We welcome that, she told reporters yesterday. We want to be a part of that discussion. Wednesday, Senator John Cornyn of Texas, the number 2 Republican leader, said that he's open to considering, in his words, new limits on bump stocks and called for a hearing. Also, Senator Ron Johnson, a Wisconsin Republican, called for a ban on the devices. A ban. Let's not have them. He says, my reaction was that this was all designed to kill or injure as many people as possible as quickly as possible, and that's the reason why automatic weapons are generally not available, Cornyn said Thursday. No sportsman or hunter uses them. Well, that's why Paul Ryan apparently says that he didn't even know what one was. The Oklahoma Republican, Senator James Anhoff, he says he doesn't see a need for the device to be legal, but wants to hear more about the accessories before making a final decision. The Arizona Senators John McCain, Jeff Flake made similar comments. Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming, Republican, said that he wants more study of the bump stocks and isn't ready to call for a ban. He says, for a guy from Wyoming who owns plenty of guns, it's something I'd never heard of until yesterday. He's another one. This news is terrible, and what's happened is a great tragedy. So the NRA statement reiterated its position that banning guns from law-abiding Americans based on the criminal act of Madman will do nothing to prevent future attacks. And the group also urged Congress to pass legislation that would require states to recognize right-to-carry permits issued by all other states. And by the way, from what I understand, these bump stocks, it helps those that are handicapped, have dexterity issues, arthritis, etc., being able to, get more firepower off there because they can't cock the gun. I don't know the technicalities. I would think that they would be able to make something, but not as lethal. I mean, you want it lethal, but you don't want it where you can mow down a bunch of people that quickly. I just didn't think that much firepower, personally, is necessary. But like I say, how many of these attacks do you see in the scale that what we've seen it to that magnitude with all the bump stocks that are available? And by the way, they're pretty much sold out. Everybody's rushing to it because they're afraid they're going to be banned. Again, why you need that much firepower, God only knows. My daughter said the other day that there would be nothing left to a deer. I mean, from what I understand, when you go deer hunting, and I know people that hunt, and I've gone out hunting, you want to bring the deer back. You don't want to pulverize. You tenderize, if you want, in the kitchen. But you don't pulverize it. It's just, I think a lot of senators are being very reasonable, saying, look, let's study it. Let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion. Let's not act rashly, because none of that is going to bring any of these people back.